Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Mr. N.M. Amin, the President of the Forum for National Unity and Respect of Ulamas. Our chief guest this evening, Honorable Ruwan Wijewardena, State Minister of Defence. Honorable members of the Parliament, members of the Provincial Council, Municipal Council and local authorities, Secretary of Defence Mr. Karnasena Tiarachi, and other high officials of the government, respected members of the Muslim community, Assalamu alaikum. A very good evening to all of you. I wish to congratulate Honorable Ruwan Wijewardena, who celebrated his 42nd birthday yesterday. And tonight, he is celebrating with all of us the first day of his new year. On behalf of myself and all of you, I wish the Honorable Minister many happy returns of yesterday. The blessing of Almighty Allah, long life, good health, and a very peaceful and successful stewardship at the State Minister of Defence of Sri Lanka under the guidance of His Excellency Maithripala Sirisena, President of the Republic of Sri Lanka. I must thank the Forum for National Unity and its President Hallaj N.M. Amin for inviting me to make the main speech on this occasion to welcome and honor our chief guest, Honorable Ruwan Wijewardena, and to bring up for the respectful attention of the Honorable Minister and the defence establishments of the country a few matters concerned to the Muslims of Sri Lanka. I guess I may have been selected by the Forum to deliver this honor as I am today the senior most political leader of the Muslim community in this country, close to double the age of our chief guest. It is well known that Honorable Wijewardena hails from a very distinguished family of national leaders and freedom fighters that our country had yielded. His maternal great-grandfather, the Right Honorable D.S. Senanayake, was the first Prime Minister of this country. I played the key role in Sri Lanka's struggle for freedom from colonial rule. His great father, the late D.R. Wijewardena, founded media freedom in our country by establishing the independent Lake House group of newspapers. His father, Mr. Ranjit Wijewardena, continued in the steps of his father, D.R. Wijewardena, strengthening further media freedom of this country by starting the Vijay group of newspapers. The chief guest's uncle is the incumbent Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, Honorable Ranil Wickremesinghe. The Senanayake Wijewardena family have provided yeoman service to the nation and continue the great tradition of serving all ethnic communities with great love and attention. It brings back to me fond memories of distinguished family who are close friends of the Muslims. I have no doubt that our chief guest will continue the family tradition of serving the people of Sri Lanka without any discrimination based on caste, creed, or religion. I came to know recently, when I was at the burial grounds, there was a gentleman, when I mentioned the Honorable Minister's name, he told me, "Sir, he is a great man." I asked him why. I was finding it very difficult to get a dam parcel approved, madrasa. We had a Muslim minister, but still I couldn't get it done. But when the minister came to know this, over the counter he was able to get my dam parcel registered. and we are very fond of him. That was what the Muslims of Mavanal told me. I wish to make use of this opportunity to request the minister in similar style to address some of the educational problems of the community in the Gampa district. Notwithstanding the distinguished family connection that I referred to a while ago, I must say that Ruwan earned his present prestigious position in public life by his own selfless, dedicated service to the public. He is an elected member of parliament from the United National Party, representing the Biagama electorate, a parliamentary seat in the Gampa district, represented earlier by the Honorable Prime Minister himself. He is also the leader of the youth wing of the UNP and the chief of the party's young professional organization. The two movements demanding dedicated long hours of service, which too had contributed to the young leader earning his preeminent position in public life. I kindly invite all of you now raise your hands and wish him great success in the future. You have with our friend he has just left, Mr. Etiaraj, our Defense Secretary, an engineer by profession, as the Ministry Secretary. I know him as a dedicated professional and wish to assure our fullest cooperation in all his functions. The Ministry and the Armed Forces have a number of high officials whom I know personally and who are a great asset to our country. We are very proud of all of them. Let me now focus on some matters which we believe require our careful attention. Defense of the country is a vital and a challenging task. We saw 2 weeks ago how Turkey successfully saved its priceless democracy from being toppled by power-hungry elements within and outside the country. In Sri Lanka, if democracy had become an irreplaceable part of our life for both our young and old, notwithstanding the inherent weakness of a few, we must be grateful to our armed forces for not intervening in civilians' rule and for protecting democracy at all times ever since independence. Sri Lanka had gone through 3 decades of grueling war, the successful conclusion of which prevented the breakup of the island into exclusive racial units. Thanks once again to the country's armed forces and the support of all 3 communities. It is therefore a great tribute to Honorable Ruwan Wijewardena to be placed in charge of such an important assignment as defense in post-war Sri Lanka with its own new challenges. What are these possible challenges that the country's defense establishment, comprising of 3 armed forces, need to be concerned about? Firstly, the possible regrouping of the LTT remains as to be, and they are on the establishment's watch list. Gathering of accurate and reliable intelligence may be the responsibility of the institution in charge of defense. We have no doubt that they are fully alert, even though the threat of LTT is regrouping is fairly remote. We are also aware that the government is fully engaged in addressing and resolving the root cause that paved the way for the rise of the LTT. The grievances of the Tamil-speaking people of this country need to be addressed and resolved. This is the only way to ensure that the LTT does not re-emerge or to lead to another war in the future. Let me state very clearly that it is our common duty to support the efforts of the government to eliminate genuinely the grievances of not only the Tamil-speaking communities, but the issues that concern all the communities in our country, including the singular people, and to establish a sustainable united Sri Lanka. The second matter that I wish to draw attention is to re-emergence of the race-hate extremist groups in the majority community, which previously led to serious violence in Aluthgama in June 2014, directed against the Muslim community, and the subsequent downfall of the very government that defeated the powerful LTT. It is dangerous to allow these hate campaigns to re-emerge. They should be dealt with firmly, according to law. Such groups, though few in number, should not be allowed to operate with impunity. Under any circumstances, criminals involved in the violent rampage in Aluthgama have not been charged or indicted until now. This is why they are re-emerging and once again trying to spread racial hatred. Recent events in Mayangana, in Kandy, and in Devala may disclose a political agenda behind the re-emergence. Spreading of racial or religious hatred may result in sudden violence with devastating effects on the economic front that will affect every one of us. The Muslims and other minorities have placed utmost faith in the unity government formed by President His Excellency Maithripala Sirisena and the Prime Minister, Honorable Ranil Wickremesinghe. They urge the government to address promptly the anti-Muslim hate campaign that has re-emerged. It is unfortunate that the government has not taken any action to contain these unlawful activities. We believe that military intelligence must report on all such groups which act in violation of the law of the country. They must also gather information and report who is funding the illegal activities of these hate groups. They must also ascertain whether any foreign hands are at work to destabilize the country. They will thereby help in protecting not only the victims of race hate, but also the good name of the country and the international reputation of Buddhism and all other religions. Thirdly, I will come to the subject that concerns the Muslim community, the most, namely, the possibility of one using Sri Lanka for recruitments to anti-Islamic terror group, the ISIS, the preeminent organization of Muslim theologians. The All Ceylon Jamiatul Ulama has repeatedly denounced the ISIS or the so-called Islamic State as an international terror group that is anti-Islamic. We urge the armed forces of the country, on behalf of the 2.1 million people, Muslims of Sri Lanka, to gather reliable intelligence that can lead to the arrest and investigation of anyone who may use Sri Lanka for recruiting or transiting recruits to the ISIS. We wish to assure the government that the Muslims of Sri Lanka have nothing whatsoever to do with any terror outfits, whether ISIS or any other, will fully cooperate with the government in dealing with anyone misled by any terrorist organization. The Muslims of Sri Lanka want to live in peace with all communities and support the development of our beloved land. Upholding the rule of law is an important step to achieve this objective. It is imperative that law and order prevails. Law enforcement authorities must ensure justice without discrimination as part of the national objective of ensuring peaceful coexistence in the country. Muslims are not asking for anything more. I wish to state most empathetically that the Sinhalese and the Muslims here have lived in peace and harmony for over 1,000 years. So I will live peacefully with all other communities. This is primarily because the Muslims throughout our long history have always been patriotic to the country, our motherland. No one will, God willing, ever succeed in dividing or even denting our unity. No one ever succeed in creating conflicts by preaching hatred or spreading falsehood. No one can question our patriotism or loyalty to our motherland. Such detractors will never succeed. What the Prime Minister of India, Honorable Narendra Modi, said on 19 September 2014, when questioned by the CNN about a purported Al-Qaeda plan to set up an Al-Qaeda branch in India, is very relevant to us even today. Prime Minister Modi replying said, if anyone thinks Indian Muslims will dance to their Al-Qaeda tune, they are delusional. Indian Muslims will live for India. They will die for India. They will not want anything bad for India. That statement is true of every Muslim in Sri Lanka vis-a-vis our own motherland. Allahu Akbar. My appeal to the Honorable Minister, his official and respected Army, Navy and the Air Forces of our country, is to be fully alert to any ISIS or other terror groups using Sri Lanka for their purposes. But be assured, Sri Lanka Muslims will never support any such horror-inflicting terror groups. Nonetheless, we urge the Muslim Ministries of Defense, Law and Order, and also the Muslims to be fully awake to real possibilities of foreign elements and agents infiltrating into the country and creating problems. But it's equally important that you protect the peaceful Muslims of the country and apprehend the trouble-seeking foreign elements and agents. We know for certain that you will not get carried away by the attempts of the sections of the foreign and Sri Lanka media insult the entire Muslim community on the back of one foreign element or the other. You know well that one swallow does not make the summer. You are aware of the spate recent killings of respected Hindu priests and civil activities in Bangladesh, blamed by some Western media on Islamic militants. However, Bangladesh Home Minister, Honorable Asaduzzaman Khan, had told the BBC on the 6th June 2016 that there is evidence of Israeli intelligence agents behind some of these killings. Israel has denied any involvement. My message to our countrymen is to quote Wendell Phillips, "Eternal vigilance is the price of liberty." My message to our Muslim brothers is no different. Eternal vigilance can save us and the country from falling into some disastrous situation into which many countries, mostly Muslim majority countries, had fallen into. Since the 9/11 tragedy, if any of you detect any suspicious activity, please record what you can and report to the nearest police station or the Forum for National Unity or the Jamaatul Ulama or the National Surah Council or the Council of Muslims, all of whom are present on this occasion today. In conclusion, I wish to thank our Chief Guest, Honorable Ruwan Wijewardene, for his kind presence, and thank all of you for your participation and patient hearing. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Knowledge Box, the value-based media network.